Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we are going to talk about system information, system log, log statistics, and Jenkins CLI script console, manage node and load about Jenkins and manage all data. So in here we'll see that in more details in manage nodes and cloud, which is very important. Rest of that in just for like in system related informations only, which is the aesthetics one. So I have already logged into that in Jenkins console, then click on that in drop down of Jenkins and manage Jenkins and click on the system informations. So here you will be see that in what is like in install and configure along with Jenkins by default, like in AWT toolkit executable war file, where that in Jenkins executable war file is there, file encoding, and that in a separator and many more. So all these configurations you can see it whatever's there. And other than that, which is very important, you can see that in a environment variable, and that environment variable you can use it as it is. You can choose that in base, which is like in Jenkins or home directory. App data you can choose, which is like in applications. App data, which is under the domain, and so many others like in Jenkins or home, local app data, OS, path and path exe and many more. So while doing with help of this like in environment variable, you can go and use that in your jobs and use it. We'll see that in once we'll create that in job. Other than that, you can see that in all list of plugins and their versions, and you can see that it's enable or disable. And that is very important because let's say your production system is running in Jenkins master. What happened, some plugins got like removed by that in users, then you can easily come to know that in while comparing with this list with like in your current list, just you have to import that in like in copy paste into that in Excel, or you can compare it or any other tool. Other than that, you can see that in memory uses, like in how that in you are using that in memory, you can set that in short and medium or long format. So if you click on that in long, it will become something like in a different, which is that in a very small. So better to see that because there's no utilizations at the moment. It's not. So after that, you can see that in a thread dumps as well if you want. And that's all about like in system. Let me go to that in system log. So in system log, we can see that in like in log level, you can put that in new log recorders, or like in all log messages, or like in log level. So if you want to change that in log level, you can just get that in name and put that in like in what you want and click on the submit. By default, it will be there for info warning, and like in you can see that in all log messages as well, whatever's there, especially for like in Jenkins. And you can create that in log record as well if you want. Click on the new log record, put that in name, and then that will be there. So it will be helpful, especially like in login purpose. After that, we have a load statistics. So for this, once you create that in if n number of jobs is running, then you'll see that in very nice graph, like in how that in jobs is running and all in details, where you'll be see the number of online scooters, number of busy scooter, number of available scooter, and query length and not. So with this, like in just we can see that in a graph, and you can understand that in your Jenkins master utilizations. After that, we have a Jenkins CLI. So whatever we are doing that in from almost GUI, you can do that in from that in command line as well. But this is not a safe way, like in but you have to use that in Java-jar Jenkins CLI, and then that in URL and web socket and help. Then these are the command is available. You can use that in all those command. And with help of these options, especially this will be work in automations. With help of this, you can download that in a plugins. So if you'll find that plugins, PQ view, or by that in command line also you can do it. I'll talk into that in once we'll create that in jobs and how we'll do that in infrastructure as a code for that in Jenkins. And other than that, we have options called like in a script console. So here you can write that in scripts, and you can see that in their executions, so it will be run it. Let's say if you want to do that in a print line and something like that, and click on the run. You'll be see that in all list of plugins whatever's it's there, so plugin editor and result. So you can print that in just hello as well. So this is just a kind of a editor, like in a GUI. You can test that in while doing that in a automations, like in writing that in Groovy scripts and other scripts, and you can use test it over here. After that, we have here options called manage node and clouds, which is very important. Here we used to create that in a node, and we'll see that in more details while like in I'll provision that in more than one server. Especially we'll have one server in some other applications A, applications B, C, and D, and we'll try to connect by that in node. And so this will talk into that in more details once we'll use that in actual applications, but you have to understand this part, especially nodes in details. So let me talk in high level. Just click on that in a create new node and put that in name. You can choose that in permanent agent or virtualbox slab. So we'll use that in virtualbox slab for these ones, or like in an AWS cloud as well, in this example. So for node, I'll create that in a three scenario: one for cloud, one for local, and then a virtualbox as well. And then we'll run that in job in master, but it will be executed into that in a respective node as well. So I'll not talk in as of now in more details for these ones, and you can monitor that in node. You can configure the cloud as well, from here. But we'll talk into the more details, specific sections once we'll start that in doing that in a actual demo. So manage node. After that, we have a about Jenkins. So in about Jenkins, this is all about what is there for these versions and that in their dependency. So all details you can see that in from that in about Jenkins page and their link. So if you want to any others, anything like in plugins related, plugin related, JavaScript, GUI library related, Git plugins related, you can go and understand that in their documentations. And other than that, I want to talk on that in manage all data. So type the versions, and you can put that in here. This is the versions 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. While these ones, and after that, let's see if you can talk in these lectures. Okay, manage users will talk into that in next lectures and shut down. So that's all about in these lectures. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.